Home builders on the US housing market are cutting prices, and they will soon be forced to abandon projects because the amount of supply going up right now at these home building sites is insane. We have a near record level of homes under construction in America, and the problem for these builders is that they're having difficulty selling all of these homes. You can see these houses behind me, which are listed for around $550,000. They have the available sign in the window, and as I walk around this community, there's close to 20 houses which are designated as available, with even more under construction. And ultimately, this surge in home building is going to be good for you guys out there as home buyers who are looking for more affordable prices, because this surge in inventory has caused the builders to have to cut the price. With the median sale price of a new home in America now being down by almost 18% from its peak. Prices from builders peaked in October 2022 at $496,000. Now we're down to $413,000, which is still expensive. It's still above the pre-pandemic norm, but things are improving for you as a new home buyer. And I think they'll continue to improve in the future, because when we look at the number of homes for sale that are under construction, you can see that that's at near an all-time high, almost as high as it was in the mid-2000s housing bubble. So these homes that are for sale and under construction, like the ones behind me, they're going to be completed probably in the next 2 to 3 months and cause the inventory to spike. Now, what's interesting is all this inventory is causing this builder to have to slash the prices. Like on this house behind me, you can see the available sign in the window. They recently cut the price from $600,000 to $550,000, which is about an 8.5% reduction in price. However, I'm curious, do you guys think that that $50,000 price cut is going to be enough to attract a buyer? That's a really tough price for buyers to swallow when mortgage rates are up near 7%. It means your monthly payment, if you were to buy one of these houses behind me, would be anywhere from $2,700 to $3,700 a month in a home building community where they're just going to build the same house right down the street from you, and they might even offer that house at a lower price and mortgage rate to the next buyer. You guys live in this community? How long have you lived here?
A little over a year.
Yeah? How do you like it?
Love it here.
Nice. So do you guys think you'll like stay here for a long time, or?
The hope is that this is our final house.
All right.
Till the hearse backs
Till the hearse
up,
backs
or
up to
the
the house.
I was like wondering, like, where are all the people coming from who buy all these houses and like
escapees from California.
escapees from
Yeah.
California?
That's their name for themselves.
Yeah.
All right. So they're pretty honest about why they're leaving California and
Oh, yeah.
coming down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
Are
right.
you thinking about buying, or are you?
You know, I like tracking the housing market. I actually have a YouTube channel where I talk about the housing market, and then I have an app that helps home buyers and investors look at.
So you live around?
I live in Nashville. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, I thought this one was really interesting because this is someone who looks like they bought it and now they're renting it for $2,200 a month.
And there's several others that we think is that same phone number that they rent.
So a single investor bought up a bunch of the homes from the builder, maybe in bulk at a discount or something, and then is trying to rent them out.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so clearly there are some people kind of moving into this community and buying up these homes. I just talked to a couple. They were saying that a lot of California escapees have come down here, a lot of retirees especially, and have bought up some of the homes. So that's where some of the demand is coming from for these houses. But the issue seems to be, to me, the huge surge in inventory, the huge surge in available houses and ones that are under construction. Are we going to continue to see that surge of people moving in? I don't think so. At least not to the same levels we saw during the pandemic, because we're already seeing the inventory skyrocket across Nashville Metro, across this zip code, suggesting there's already been a slowdown. But interestingly, folks, you might have noticed here behind me, take a look at this. This is a house available for rent here in this new home building community. I looked up this on Zillow. It's really interesting. This was an owner, an investor, who bought up a bunch of the houses apparently in this area, in this home building development. He actually tried to sell that house for $399,000 in the fall. He couldn't sell it. Now he's trying to rent it for $2,200. And according to the couple I just talked to, there's a bunch of rentals in this area. And ultimately, this is kind of what concerns me about the future of home prices in areas like this, is that the builders are going crazy. They're building all these homes, and investors bought up a bunch of the homes, which further pushed up the prices. But now we're seeing the vacancy rates increase. We're seeing the investors have to cut the rent. I mean, that's a situation which says to me there could be a lot of price downside, because these builders, they've been ruthless so far in reducing the prices. They're also offering 4 to 5% mortgage rates for their buyers with these mortgage rate buy downs. And ultimately that's causing prices to go down in a lot of the cities where the builders are most active. Because actually America's largest home builder, D.R. Horton, they just had an earnings call where they reported that they will continue to use incentives and lower prices and lower mortgage rates to lure in home buyers. In fact, D.R. Horton's earnings call was pretty bad. It was pretty negative. They missed earnings. Their stock went down by 10% in a day, with many analysts now fearing that the so-called recovery in the housing market that everyone's been talking about isn't really happening, especially if you guys live in a city or a zip code where home prices are heavily overvalued. On Reventure app, I have home price overvaluation data for every zip code in America. If we go here south of Nashville, we can see the overvaluation rates are anywhere from 25 to 40%. Home price is heavily overvalued compared to their long-term norms. And one of the reasons why the overvaluation occurred is because of the flood of people during the pandemic and the low inventory. However, we're no longer in that situation of low inventory. There's plenty of homes for sale. There's lots of sellers cutting the price, which suggests to me that values here will go down and that the builders are going to help facilitate that decline. Now, folks, one thing I will actually say about this community, you might have been able to tell as I'm walking around, it is actually beautiful. There's a lot of home building sites I go to which are really, really ugly and that I would never want to like step foot in, but this is actually a pretty serene location if you can get over the noise of all the construction equipment. So kudos to this builder for actually making a community that looks halfway decent. However, it all comes down to price point, everyone. I'm curious, would you guys buy a $450,000 to $600,000 home in a community like this with a payment of $2,700 to $3,700 a month at today's mortgage rates? I suspect a lot of you will probably say no to that, which is one of the reasons why the home builder of this community, Pulte Homes, is having some issues. Their earnings report just came out and they reported a 4% earnings miss in the fourth quarter of 2023. Their earnings were 4% below what they guided expectations to. They said in the fourth quarter of 2023 that the higher interest rate environment when mortgage rates went to 8% caused more cancellations, fewer buyers, and so that's why their revenue was lower and their closed sales were lower. And many of these builders are saying, hey, that was just the fourth quarter of 2023. That was a blip on the radar. The builders are saying 2024 is going to be way better. The mortgage rates are down a bit. They're saying the buyers are coming back in. However, I'm not seeing that in the fundamental data, everyone. When I look at the fundamental data, I see that mortgage applications to buy a house are down 15% over the last year, still at near the lowest levels on record. I see that home buyer traffic at builder sites, yes, it's improved over the last couple months, but it's still at a historically low level. I think a lot of people in the housing market are checked out. They're bored almost. They're tired of looking for the last 2 to 3 years and seeing grossly inflated prices and grossly inflated mortgage payments. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see these builders start to struggle a little bit, especially as all those homes for sale under construction start to convert to completed homes. So right now there's about 240,000 homes for sale under construction. There's 90,000 homes for sale that are completed. You can see the 90,000 homes for sale that are completed, that's now back above pre-pandemic levels from the very low levels that occurred during the pandemic. And I expect that those completed homes are going to continue to surge in inventory, particularly if you're in a state where the builders have gone crazy. The builders, they've gone absolutely nuts in the states in red on this map. They're the ones that have the highest home building permit percentage. This is data that you can find on Reventure app for every state, metro, and county in America. And where I am right now, south of Nashville, is one of the areas where these builders build the most homes. And so you can see actually when we look at the inventory figures of homes for sale in this zip code, the inventory has already spiked and it will continue to spike into the future, which ultimately could cause home prices to crash across this area in general. You know, the one thing about this home building situation is it's basically kind of isolated to certain parts of America. The builders are going nuts in Tennessee, they're going nuts in Texas, they're going nuts in Florida, they're going nuts across many of the mountain states like Arizona and Idaho. However, there's many other parts of America where the builders are almost entirely absent. They're building very few homes in Illinois, they're building very few homes in New York, and they're also building very few homes in California. And so when you go to those states, you don't really see home building sites like this, which is one of the reasons why the inventory levels for sale in Illinois, New York, and California are much lower now than Texas, Florida, and Tennessee. And as we walk and look at more of these houses under construction, folks, we can see more of them have that available sign right in front of them. And so folks, in the next couple months, I mean, in this area, we're just gonna see a surge in completed inventory, a surge in move-in ready homes. I mean, we have even more if we go down this way, and they're all listed as available. And folks, even more newly completed homes, they have that available sign right there in the window. And so this is a situation where the data I'm showing you from the US Census Bureau on home building, it's matching the on-the-ground insights. And what I would encourage you to do as a home buyer or real estate investor is to study up on the home building rates and inventory trends in your city and zip code. But that's gonna help inform you on the future direction of prices. So what I would suggest you guys do is go to www.reventure.app right now and type in your county. Type in your county into the search and then click a data point called building permit percentage. This is a premium data point that allows you to see how much home building there is in your area relative to the size of the population for your county, metro, and state. This is a premium data point that costs $39 a month to access and is a necessary tool for you to track as an investor especially.